like this, actually a community visit. So I don't know if I'm going to have any particular insights or inspirations that anyone else here wouldn't have or isn't going to be sharing today. So there was a lot that I observed, and the big takeaway for me personally was a deep commitment to the community and passion that we share in Santa Cruz, that the people in Colorado, those two communities that we visited, shared as well. And it was also clear that there's a ton of opportunity and a ton of things for us to potentially focus on. And while I'm not one that's deeply versed in the complexities of city politics, I am an individual that knows something about getting ideas into practice and building on them and turning them into something. And one of the challenges with that is, and I think Donna hit this square on the head when she talked about defining goals, is you really need to know exactly what it is that you want to accomplish. And it's probably a long list, and prioritizing that list and creating focus is a big challenge. And so on one of the bus rides that we had going from one place to another, I had this idea and I shared it with a couple people, and they seemed to be interested in it, was that what if we set up a mock community visit, and we basically presented to ourselves the progress Santa Cruz has made over the past 10 years based on experiences that we had, like at Fort Collins, et cetera, and based on things that are in place, whatever they be, currently tech meetups and the work that's being done at the university, and building on that, and we show and map the progress that's been made and how we prioritize. And I think it's an interesting exercise, and yeah, it could be fun, but the real opportunity, I think, with it is the potential to create more of a visceral kind of experience or vision for what we could potentially do. And if we all can share in that and get a clearer picture in our minds of what the vision for the future is, then it may help us prioritize where we want to focus our energy, and it certainly helps to get people rallied around those bigger ideas. So it was really that was my big takeaway and idea I wanted to share, so that's it.
Thank you, Darren. And actually, the Chamber is kind of doing the initial thinking about having a community leadership visit Santa Cruz. So that may be something that's happening in the fall, which is very exciting. So next we're going to be hearing from Linda Gold, founder of M3I Works, and she'll be talking to us about incubation of innovative businesses.
Well, having moved my business over here after 25 years in Silicon Valley and being on the San Jose Silicon Valley Chamber Board for 9 years, Bill suggested that I participate in this trip and get to know some of the business and community leaders here in Santa Cruz, and I'm delighted that I did. I also learned a lot about private-public university partnership and how they can truly spur innovation and achieve economic vitality if leadership has a passion for and a commitment to collaboration on a shared vision. We visited 3 very impressive innovation business incubation centers in our time in Colorado, 2 in Boulder, 1 in Fort Collins. For the sake of brevity, I'm just going to focus on Rocky Mountain Innosphere, which was the center in Fort Collins. We had kind of a harrowing bus ride from Boulder to Fort Collins, given the snow and ice on the road, but once there, it was a pretty amazing destination. The innovation centers, like the ones in Boulder, was a public-private university partnership, which provided not only a gorgeous facility for startups, but also highly acclaimed education programs, coaching, mentoring, and also that all-important access to capital. Innosphere incubates and accelerates the success of primarily bioscience and clean tech high-growth startups. Within that gorgeous 30,000 plus square foot building, there was beautiful meeting space, training rooms, gorgeous offices, but what was even more impressive were the incredible state-of-the-art labs to which these startups had access to continue their R&D efforts. To summarize the impact of Innosphere in 2012, the conglomerate supported 35 client companies whose annual revenues reached nearly $8 million. These 35 companies employed 178 full and part-time workers with average annual salary of $70,000. Client companies raised over $19 million in capital in 2012 and raised a cumulative total of $54 million overall. So that's pretty darn impressive for a community that size. One of the Innosphere's presentation slides summed it up quite nicely, and I'll just read it. We are more than a building. We're more than an incubator. We're more than a network. We are a force born of ideas and shaped by passion. We're a community of entrepreneurs, leaders, and supporters. We're an ecosystem for innovation. We're an engine for economic vitality. We're a catalyst for progress. We are Rocky Mountain Innosphere. Bring your vision. I believe that we have a vision for economic vitality here in Santa Cruz as well. And as a result of this trip, I'm really excited and hopeful that we have and take the opportunity to replicate Innosphere's vision, innovation, and community collaboration on shared vision. Thanks.
Thank you, Linda. And finally, we will be hearing from Hillary Bryant, Mayor of the City of Santa Cruz, and she will be talking about creating a community-based brand based on innovation.
Thank you. I don't know if I have the focus on innovation, but all right. So we can talk what we want to talk about. I already heard that twice now. So I have the mic. And, a lot of the things that I was going to mention have already been touched on, and certainly Donna and Bonnie both gave the framework of, when we're talking about Santa Cruz as a brand, we're not talking about a logo. We're talking about sort of not just how our business leaders and our community leaders see the city, but it's how we all see our community. And in Boulder, they're doing some things really well. They're doing some things that are really not that much different than what we're doing here. But what they are doing that is exceptional is they're telling their story. And they're telling it in a way that they're putting it out to the world what Boulder's about. And there's a lot of things that Santa Cruz is about, and you can travel the world and people know Santa Cruz. They may not know it's an actual physical city. It may be just Richard Novak's dot. It may be a brand to them. It may be O'Neill wetsuits. But people know our city. And when we're talking about how we brand our city, a lot of that is how we message our city. In Boulder, they're talking about how they are the hub for organic foods. And that kills me. Every time I think about that, that kills me, because I think, so are we. Why are we not talking about that? Why are we not giving our message? And we talk about, all the innovation that's happening in Santa Cruz, all the great things that are happening at the university, and we sort of know about it, but we don't really spread that as part of our message. And this really hit me. I used to listen to Ryan Coonerty talk about this all the time, and I thought, oh, that's just because he's mayor, and that's what he has to do, and he talks about how great Santa Cruz is. But as a community member, and now as the mayor of this city over the past several months, I have had so much messaging about what Santa Cruz is about and what I value about our community and how we need to shift off the messages that we're giving about our community. And I am the first one in the room to say we have challenges and we have problems and we have things that we need to address. We absolutely do. I never am one to run and say, no, there's no public safety problems. Don't worry, it's completely safe. I acknowledge those problems. But if that is the only message that comes out of Santa Cruz is about our problems, then we will be our problems. We will not be all the cool, amazing things that happen in this town. Last night I was out with some people from the surf industry, and I was talking about just some stories about, what's come out of Santa Cruz that we all forget about. It's like the wetsuit is from Santa Cruz. The surfboard, this is the base for the surfing industry. We have an amazing mountain biking industry going on here. We don't talk, the skateboarding industry, everything. There are so many innovators in this town that already exist in the outdoor recreation, and yet Boulder's over there selling themselves as the bicycle capital of the world, and we don't talk about what we do here. So if we continue to message the way we message, we are what we send out to the world. And I was interviewed, this was such a profound moment. I was doing the tech meetup, and I had just been interviewed by somebody from NPR, and they were interviewing mayors that had to manage crisis. And they had just talked to the mayor of Boston and the mayor who was mayor of Tucson at the time when Gabby Giffords was shot, and they called me. And I thought, oh my God, our city is lumped in with these communities because we lost our officers, and that is a tragedy that I will probably never recover from because it was such a profound impact. But if that's the national message, if we continue to say there's needles in our beaches and our bay is polluted and there's all these problems, then that's the message that the world reads about Santa Cruz. And we all know there's so much more. We work really hard and we go on these leadership visits because we care about Santa Cruz. So what I would really like to see with all this groundwork that we talk about that's been laid, we have a great foundation for it, that we continue to work on our problems. We continue to face the challenges that we have. We start as a community, not just as the mayor and the council and the business leaders, but as an entire community to either, we make a choice. You either continue and you stay on that message, or you shift. And you say, yes, we have things that we need to work on. Every community in this country has issues they have to work on. But you also have to say, what are we about and what are the good things we're about and all the cool things. I was at a tech company the other day and they were like, you should bring more startups here because Penny Creamery's here and that is cool. And Verve Coffee is a great place to get a cup of coffee. And I thought, you're right. That is the message we should send out. So, I don't know, innovation, certainly there's a component of that, but there's all kinds of other things that are happening here. The organic food industry, if we can't own that, how does Boulder get to own that? These are the things that as a community that's in this room and as a broader community, I really think we need to start having the conversation about, not just here, but out to the world. So, thank you.
Thank you, Hillary. And thank you to all of our speakers today. I'm going to hand it back over to Martina.
I'm not climbing up there anymore, no. So, let's give another round of applause for all 10 of our speakers. Pretty incredible information and ideas, and we're going to keep that conversation going because this is not just for presentation, this is for conversation and interaction. And in order to do that, we have gotten to join us today Peter Garn, who is one of the regional's finest facilitators on so many subjects. He's worked for 3 decades in this area, in this community. I think I've known you half of that. But mainly his focus comes from having worked in Silicon Valley and in education and having experienced the work of Peter on a number of occasions. I am really convinced that he will be able to help all of us as we share what we need to keep this going. Give us a map, if you will. Peter Garn.
All right, thank you, Martina. So now that you got full bellies and have been fed with all of these great ideas and great presentations, we're going to engage you in a little bit of table work. Okay, so there's going to be eight tables that we're going to have topics around. And I'd like to just set a little bit of context. Where's Amanda? If Amanda can just give you a little bit, out of all of these visits, there's been a number of conversations and these 8 topics have emerged, so I'll let Amanda tell you about that.
Just give you a little bit of context. So if you look on the tables, there's these little acrylics that have kind of been knocked over by the wind. There's 8 of them at different spots, and we might have to kind of group around them. But these topics have really emerged out of everything that we've seen and learned at the trips. And then also we had 3 different lunch meetings with the participants of the trips. We went to Hindquarter Grill, Crow's Nest, and Lali. And these topics really kind of emerged as the most important, as the ones that we think we can really work on, the places where we see progress can be made. And so that's just kind of a little context for those and where those are coming from.
Thanks, Amanda. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to tell you what the 8 are, and then I'd like you, if it's at your table, that topic, to just kind of raise your hand, because after we talk about all 8, I'm going to give you a chance to move to a different table. There are definitely people in this room that have expertise around some of these topics and can contribute a lot to it. So you will make a little bit of adjustment, and then what you're going to have is about 20 minutes at your table to talk about that. And we're going to focus on the positive side of the issue, okay? So we're going to talk about, so let me do one as an example. So if Santa Cruz was a creative class community, what table is that at? Back here. Okay, so that table back there. So if that was true, how would that influence the decisions or the choices that we make as a community? What would we be doing differently if that was a true statement? Okay, so that's how we're going to do it for all 8 of those. Okay, and all you're going to do is spend that 20 minutes and really brainstorm what would that mean to us? What would we be trying to do differently? Okay, and then we'll have some report outs from each of those groups at the end. So let me tell you what the other topics are. Silicon Valley vitality. Anybody have that? Okay, and there's more words to these topics when you get there, but I'm just going to do it real short. So that's the table in the back in the corner here. Let's see, branded as an innovative community. Okay, right here, Hillary's table, great. Funding of UCSC, and this is really related to research grants, contract revenue, etc. Where's that? Okay, middle table right here. The competitive quality of infrastructure that was talked about. Where's that one? Great, right over here. Success in attracting startup capital. Okay, table right here. And Santa Cruz was successful in creating new jobs. Okay, that's the group right in here. There's a bunch of little round tables. You can pull them together. And then the last one is UCSC technology transfer. Okay, and that's the far table over here. Okay, so I'm just going to give you a minute or two to, if you want to switch to a different table and a different topic, please just get up and make that change. And then settle back in. Okay, we got a little bit more shuffling going on. Settle on in.
You changed one.
Oh yeah, I don't know, but I was thinking, do you want me to?
Okay, if you can all kind of grab a chair then, we're just about there. So here's what you got. You have about 20 minutes to have this conversation. I'm going to come around and I'm going to give each group just like a flip chart paper so that you can highlight your conversation. And if somebody would be responsible to report out for your group, that would be great. Okay? So you got 20 minutes and I'll be around to your tables if you have any other questions. So the key thing is your topic, and you're going to basically say, if this is true, what would we be doing differently? What decisions would we make? What choices would we be making for the community? Okay? You're on.
So we all have this, should I read it? Competitive quality and infrastructure, water transportation, broadband, innovation,